Many years ago, this candle blessed our family with a miracle. Our house, our casita, came to life with magic.
Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This week we're going to talk about production plan of Encanto, which is made by Disney. We'll try to learn about the role of production for making this kind of project, take a look at pipeline, and learn how to make a timetable. Come with me to take a look at Disney website and have an overview of every step. What you see now is an image of every sequence. As you know, every script contains many sequences. In a nutshell, every sequence shows the changes in time and location. Every sequence divided to shots. Every shot contains camera angle, movements, and assets. In Encanto, every shot takes 0 to 30 seconds. Frame rate shows that every second divided to how many frames. For animation, we normally consider 24 frames. What you see here shows how many frames are in Encanto. Here you see the rendered frame, which means every shot got rendered twice. Oops, too much data. Let me continue our study on its art book. But wait, before we go through the book, I think it's better to have some other infos. Number 1 is about the pipeline. What is a pipeline? Every project starts with an idea. When the idea comes to somebody's mind, that person should convince the team for making that project. They will go and gather some reference and make treatment to pitch the project. When a pitch is accepted, you will go for story. Then, as you can see, you'll change story to a screenplay which contains sequences information. Then, you should change it to storyboard, which will show how many shots would your story be. After a story reel, you should go for previews, which is the 3D vision of a story reel, and it shows camera movement and whatever are in your shot. The previews will show us objects under shadows and lights. We can start sound effect after previews. Just right when we start our story, the design process is started. We have concepts of characters and assets, and then we will send them to model. After modeling is done, it is time for texturing and rigging. A rigged object would be sent to FX team and animate. Then we have all done, we're gonna go for rendering. One of the interesting part of animation in Disney is that they do set extension. As you can see, this part can help to show a better atmosphere and sense of a story. Now it's time to send all shots to edit. And congrats, everything is done. As promised, now that we know about the pipeline, let's take a look at the art book and see which part is familiar for us. This part is talking about creative development. This one would start before making a story. When a story comes to somebody's mind, it is important that audience be attracted. So that you will use some techniques, that one of them is to choose a good atmosphere and design for the world of a story. Creative development will help storytellers to make a better world by offering references and design. You see, the gathered references of environment, plants, food, and everything relates to the culture that would be introduced in world of a story. If someone gives us words magic and girl, everyone would make its own story. As you see, these are 2 stories were made. As Colombian culture was chosen, they even asked the Latino co-workers to help making a new world. Not only a place could inspire you, but also time would do this either. The earliest design relates to 1950, but the team changed their mind to choose 1900. Now that you know inspired location and time, it's time for making characters. Every character is gifted, but what would be their gift? You see here some examples. And welcome to the family madrigal. Okay, we know our characters and their magic, but what should they wear and what's the best color for them? Here are the example of color codes for family and town people. These pictures show us part of design. Let's enjoy watching them together. Asking why I'm showing you this, I have a good answer for you. Apart from watching beauties, you're watching tasks that were done by people. It means that you talk with design team and they ask this item. You put them in your table and ask heads that who should you assign them and how much time would it take. Every single task should be followed by you and your team. For every request, you need to meet artists and technicians and be aware of how do they suggest that task be done, who should do this, and how long would it take. These data are yours. You have to put them in a table, make a plan for them, and follow them up. Character concepts are the part with so many back and forths. Especially for the main characters, there would be many meetings and edits. How do they look? What should they wear? What kind of prop they have? How technical teams would do design demands. This is an example of environment design. What you need to pay attention is about the object of the scene. Who should make them and when? Which one of them are reusable? What are the most complicated? What are the approximate solutions to make them easier? Don't get me wrong, you're not going to answer them all yourself. You should make plans of meetings and build an atmosphere for that the network could find the answers. I'm sure you have many questions about how to do those I said. No need to be worried. I'll talk about them in details in other videos. Remember that I told by the time design working, a storyboard would be worked either. This is storyboard and this is a color key. Put those parts in your table and let me talk about it later. Come with me to enjoy some other designs. Now that we have the design, it's time to make models. This would be the first pass. You see edits and final path. There are so many other parts that you need to be aware of and do whatever I told before. Don't forget to ask your team everything you don't know. This will help you improve your knowledge. It would affect on your table and your care would save the team not wasting the time on easy parts and save it for more creativity. Now that we know the project pipeline, it's time for making project plan. Let me draw your attention to this schematic plan of what we do as a production manager. When an idea gets the green light, the majority of your time will go for making many timetables. I'd say the first scariest one is bidding. You will have a project calendar after bidding which shows working and non-working days. After you add crew, you should have this calendar for everybody separately. Crew calendar will help you to know about presence and absence of a person for let the team know for assigning tasks. When you have your story ready, you should make first draft out of it. Don't forget you will refine it when you have storyboards and previews. Out of every draft, you will plan for assigning tasks, which I call it backlog. Let's get familiar with the most terrible part, making timetables. This is bidding table. When you have a story, you will go to make a table to give you a vision of the project. After having many meetings with client, producer, director, and heads, you will gather so many information which you should put them in a table. Put every step into the table and ask your team their estimation about doing any task and how much tasks you and the team guess you would have. Then add a contingency to them for making a table. Then plan another meeting with the networks for considering parallels, which means which kind of group can work at the same time. Let's go through the timeline and the deadline. You must identify how much artists you would need for each part. When you gather those data and put them in a table, good for you, because the bidding appears.
Now you need a 1 week leave to rest.
Joking apart, now you have perspective of what will go on the project. You will ask HRs and recruiters for seeking how many artists you want and let the client know when you would deliver which part of a project. Do you remember overview I showed? The next thing was the calendar. You should make your own calendar based on working and non-working days and then Add the crew calendar beside. You will see what teams are gonna work at the same time. It is make you capable of answering questions like how many rooms and systems you need. You would send a list of demands to recruiters for helping you to find a network and so on. Can you remember the next scariest one? Absolutely. That was making drafts. As I didn't have a story of Encanto, I went for making my first draft out of a script. As you will see, I have color codes for finding everything in a sequence, and I will put them on table like this. It could be simple as you see, but it shows many data. If I were the manager of this project, I would talk to the team about every single piece of this table for defining the task table. Don't forget to refine every draft whenever you get new information. For me, last draft would be made out of previous. That could be something like this. The important information added to this table is timing and lighting. It helps team to prioritize making assets and sequences. You will know how to start production. Which sequence is the best one for start, and then we can give every sequence and shot a level, priority and importance. Now that everything is ready and you make the table, it is time to have some hands for following up. I make these tables that I can follow up every single task, and it is something that production team and the other member can rate easily. You can add some taste to them, color them, make some changes to the table. It's completely up to you. Remember that you should transfer their infos into the main backlog. You have to check them with the overview and make sure everything works as best. You know that managing a production is knowledge. These are just some tools to let you do your job easier. Just don't forget that you can make all of these even on a paper, but the thing we need to know is being aware of management methods, plus having knowledge of communication, improve our EQs by reading books and studies. Don't forget that we're working with emotional creatives and we ourselves are like them. We need happiness, joy, and satisfaction through our job. I just say, take it easy for make it easy. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to transfer as much data as I could, but please don't hesitate to ask me your questions. Share your ideas with me, even your criticism about the video. I will write my social media's link in the caption if you'd rather to share something in private, not in comments. Till the next video, bye.